The Walking Dead Rewrite, Season 7, Episode 9, No Turning Back. Now, this episode would begin with a flash forward where we basically get to see the glass. And we see the glass, of course, with the piece missing in it. And, of course, we all kind of wonder what is actually going on here. Then we get to see the tree, and then we cut to Rick as he opens his eyes, and they're red, making us wonder when and how does this happen. Now, this episode would start with Carl, and it's the same exact scene. He would be driving up, basically, and it would be just like the first episode of The Walking Dead. However, this time, of course, we have him going through, looking through the cars and stuff like that, and we have Sadiq. Now, Rick would scare off Sadiq in this version as well. I think it makes a lot of sense because he doesn't really want to take any chances. He doesn't really want to, and specifically because he also thinks that, you know, the saviors, if he's a savior, well, that's good, and if he's not a savior, I hope he makes it, you know? And basically, in this version, same thing would happen. He'd be like, Dad, it's, you know, it's not going to be enough. Enough what? Enough hope. And I think that, honestly, in this scene, I think this scene is very necessary because it really shows Carl and kind of how he really wants to save people, you know, at least if they're not saviors. He likes to help. He likes to be the hero, that type of thing. And Rick isn't as, you know, open to that, you know, type of idea. So anyway, now we get to see our characters getting prepared at Hilltop. You basically have Maggie and Glenn that are getting these shields ready, of course, as they are all kind of gearing up. And you also have, of course, the blacksmith, of course, that are kind of, you know, getting everything ready. But they are very, very, very close to attacking the saviors, and we can tell by seeing this here as they are preparing. And we also get to see, as the music starts to build up, Ezekiel at the kingdom, and he stands in front of his people, and he actually smiles. As well, we get to see Dwight at the sanctuary, and then, of course, he sees Daryl, and then, of course, it says tomorrow, and he fires it back, and Daryl and Dwight kind of look at each other to say, like, okay, so you know what we're doing? Okay, good. All right, see ya. Now, we get to also see Sasha at Abraham's grave at Alexandria, and she's kind of sitting there crying, and she says, wish me luck. Now, we get to cut over to Rick and Michonne as they wake up. Michonne is badly beaten up, obviously, previously from the, you know, mid-season finale. However, we do get to see that she says to Rick, are you sure that this is going to work this time? And Rick says, I haven't been this sure in a long time. I know we can do it. But the only thing that's worrying me, and then he kind of sits down and takes a quick pause and says, we're not going to get out of this just like that. There's going to be casualties. I know it. I've seen it. I lose people all the time. It's getting sickening. I can't sit here and just watch my people die, but I have no other choice. Our people are being terrorized. We're being terrorized by Negan and his saviors. We have to do something. So we're going to kill him. And Michonne says, I told you, this was not our life. This is the right call. And Rick says, well, I hope so. I don't want to have this war end and us regret it by the time it's over. Now, Rick gives a speech in front of everybody, and he basically says that everybody here has been getting by pretty much not doing anything. You have all managed to just survive here. However, now it is time to put your lives on the line, and you all know who you are. The ones that are going with me are going to either die fighting for a place that can stay standing, or you will survive into whatever comes next. Either way, I support every single last one of you. You are why we are still here, not me. Just like he said in Season 3. However, now I feel like that phrase and that speech has even more of a meaning now going into the war with Negan. So that is why that is included in this dialogue. And Ezekiel says here, whoever sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, and she today, as he goes to Maggie, my sister. And basically, you know, each of them kind of smile, and we have Shiva, same thing as in the regular version. Shiva also kind of cheers in a way. Maggie says, we all might have to live in uncertainty for days, but we have to keep our faith in each other. If we can hold on to that with everything we have, the future is ours. The world is ours. As everybody cheers for them. Now, after the intro, we would have Rick saying goodbye to Judith, and of course, kissing her forehead, and same thing, of course, kissing Michonne goodbye, and saying goodbye to Carl, and he would say, this is the end of it. And basically, he would go in his vehicle, and they would drive out of Alexandria, heading to the sanctuary. We have their vehicles, of course, have all been built now with the shields on them, and you have basically the same thing. Jerry's like, Enid, like, dude, like, you sure? That type of thing, and she takes the armor. And basically, you have Ezekiel, Maggie, Rick, Glenn, and a few others that are basically talking, and she says, I've been fighting since the farm. I can't stop now. And Glenn basically tells Rick, I'm always here. I'm always here for the fights, Rick. You'd think I'd back out now? And Rick kind of chuckles. And then basically Ezekiel says, on this day, we will begin to reshape this world for the child and the children to come. So let's get started. And Glenn kind of looks at Rick, and he's kind of just looking at him like he's like, yeah, okay. Like he gives him that look, is like, okay, this guy's kind of, he talks like pretty corny, but he's kind of awesome. And Rick kind of looks back at him as kind of to say like, yeah. And then basically they drive off, and you basically have Daryl, Carol, and Morgan that are, of course, there waiting for the herd to show up. And we're just like, wait, what is going on here? And we're kind of waiting along with them. What is going on here? Why isn't the herd on time? And, of course, then, they show up at the last minute. And then, of course, Daryl would say, all right, let's go. Now, you would have some saviors rolling out, of course, and the one girl's like, oh, I want blood. And Dwight's just like, well, maybe you'll get lucky, that type of thing. He lights his cigarette, of course, and then he kind of notices that the time's pretty much up. And then, of course, he puts his smoke out, and bang, bang, the two guards are dead. Now, Rick and the others, of course, arrive in their kind of shield vehicles, and basically they all fire their guns, of course, at Maggie's signal, and of course call Negan out. Except in this version, I would add the dialogue, the part of the comic that I find so iconic. Rick would say, Negan, show yourself. And the same thing would happen. You would have some intense music, and Negan would come out, and he would say, well, I'm sorry, I was in a meeting, as the music builds up. Then he would proceed to say, I see you got your little mud flaps with you, so I'm not exactly feeling a reason for us trying to kind of fight each other. I care about my people. I don't want to just march them into the line of fire. And then, of course, they talk about, you guys know what, of course, it is bigger. We both know it. But I'm also comfortable enough to accept the fact if it wasn't. And then, of course, Rick would, make the offer, except in this version, he would say, you and your fighters that, came in here and killed my people, all of the families, the children, the elderly, all of them inside, I don't want to have to do this. So they can live, and all of you and your main, saviors can surrender. I can only guarantee it right now. And Negan, of course, would kind of just be like laughing at it, like not taking it seriously at all. And then Rick would be like, this is the only way. And basically then you would have Negan that would be like, okay then, like he's like, I got something better. And of course, this is when Gregory would come out. And you would basically have, which I would definitely keep the line, from Jesus. Of course, that's where he went, and then he would basically say that, what do you have to say to Rick and the Piss Patrol, Gregory? And then he would basically say, just like in the TV show, the hilltop stands with Negan and the Saviors. Any residents of the hilltop who take up arms, and then, he'd go on to say that they will no longer be welcome in the colony. And then, Negan would be like, and he's like, well, their families be thrown out, let them fend for themselves, And then he'd be like, oh, and he's like, go home now, or you won't have a home to go back to. And then he kind of just look around. He'd be like, yeah, I said that. That kind of look he has on his face. Like, yeah, I did say that, And then basically, now, in the comic book series, some of the people actually do leave. In this version, I actually really do like how it worked out in the TV show version, where they actually all do stay there. Even the kind of randoms, that kind of just stay there. I definitely think that it's a good idea for all the characters to stay there. However, I do like the additional line, all I have at the hilltop is, just some books and stuff like that, and I would basically have him say that to Maggie and Glenn, and basically they would both kind of just be like, kind of have that confidence in their face of like, all right, like that's good. And then Negan would say, not one, he would yell at Gregory, not one person walked away. And yes, Negan would say, I'm very disappointed, Gregory, and he would push him right off. So then, and then he would call him a useless piece of crap. So then Gregory would go off the stairs, of course, and, he'd fall off, and Rick would basically say that, this is my last time I'm asking, that type of thing. This is the only way. And Rick would say, you're going to make me count. Okay. I'm counting. 10, 9, 8, 7. Fire his gun, and then we have to see what happens. Now, during this time, obviously, we would have this walker that kind of gets, just about to, kind of hit the cable. And of course, Morgan, has to take out that one walker. Of course, they see Morgan from a distance as they're driving up, and boom, as they all kind of get blown up by the explosives that Morgan, Daryl, and Carol have kind of set off here. And basically, we get to cut over back and forth to when Rick and the others are shooting against, Negan and the others. They shoot through the windows. However, in this version, just a little bit of something that I think would help this scene out would be I would have a couple guards in kind of where they're shooting at the windows. I would have a couple guards kind of there, shooting back and forth at them, just so it makes more sense, so it doesn't look so weird when they're kind of shooting at just random windows. I would actually have guards there shooting back and forth at them. However, Rick and the others would manage to kill them. It's just a small little detail that I think needs to be kind of added in here, just for this scene to feel more organic and just for it to make more sense is all. And then basically we get to continue on with, of course, Daryl and Carol, they hug, and basically he's like, this is going to be fun. And she's like, no, it isn't. He's like, well, it's better to let things be, though, right? And she's like, yeah, it is. And basically he drives off and, of course, blows up the boxes, of course, and kind of gets the herd in the right path towards the sanctuary as he kind of leads them there throughout some pretty cool kind of visual shots of him shooting some of the explosives. Now, obviously, Negan would be on the ground in this version, too. I think it just kind of sets up some really exciting kind of tension in this moment, and you would have Gabriel that kind of looks at Rick and he says, this isn't the way to do this, Rick. There are going to be other times that we can do this, but right now this isn't the right way to do it. You're going to get yourself killed. And then basically Rick kind of stands there for a couple seconds and he basically says, load it up. So then of course they kind of try to get out and they try to escape in time, of course, before the herd gets there, because they obviously know the herd is on the way. As Daryl is leading it, they all pack up and they go. Now, Tara gets the idea that, you know what, screw this. I'm going to drive this RV through the gates and basically try to kill Negan myself. She knows that Negan's right there. She knows she can do it. As everybody else drives off, Tara hangs back, and unfortunately she does ram the RV through the gates, and of course Negan is right there as Tara steps out of the RV, and you have Negan that knocks Tara down, and now unfortunately Tara has been captured and Rick and the others are already gone. So Negan has Tara now, and now Negan and Tara are going to be stuck. However, will Negan manage to get back into the sanctuary? Will Tara put up a fight? We don't know, but unfortunately Negan has managed to capture Tara before she can actually kill him, as he's standing over her and says, "You'd think I'd really let you get off that easy? Did you? No way, sister." Now, of course, we know why Tara is doing this, obviously because of the death of Denise. However, unfortunately, her plan, her really kind of reckless plan, didn't work in the end, and now, unfortunately, she is trapped by Negan, and now she is trapped with the Saviors at the Sanctuary. Now, Carl would go back and leave some food for Sadiq, and it would be the same exact scene as in the TV show. Sadiq would see Carl from the bushes, and he would kind of be happy to see him, leaving some supplies, that type of thing. But in this version, which I can't stress this enough, this is going to be the end of Carl helping Sadiq. I will just confirm this for you guys right now. Carl, in my opinion, in this scene, it really just kind of represents, he's like, okay, you know what? My father's right. We don't know this guy. However, Alexandria has food. We can spare it. He needs it. Why not give some food to him? However, it is not worth me risking my life over somebody that I don't really know that well. He could be, something of importance that we don't know about. He could be working with people that we don't know. He could be a threat, is what I'm trying to say. And, basically, he's like, we already have that going on right now. We already have this war with Negan. That's kind of the mindset Carl has right now. So when he's dropping off the supplies, this is kind of his like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to really kind of take this guy in, but what I will do is give this guy supplies because he does need it. He does need food. He does need water. He does need some stuff like this, but he is not going to risk his own life over somebody that he doesn't really know that well. And in my opinion, that fits Carl's character better than what they did in the original Walking Dead. Of course, we all know how that went, so I will just confirm for you guys, this is the end of the whole Carl Sadiq storyline. There is not going to be any kind of further storylines unless I go into more stuff from Sadiq later on. But in terms of Carl helping Sadiq, this is the highest extreme we are going to go with this storyline. Now we can see our characters in the woods. Obviously, we know now they're going to be preparing. Obviously, thanks to Dwight, they know where these outposts exactly are. Not just the satellite station, but Dwight is kind of, obviously kind of helped them through this whole thing. So they know exactly where to go and where to attack. So we can kind of tell as they're kind of getting ready here. But this episode would end with Rick basically telling Daryl in this that, even though this attack was successful, the thing about it is that this war is just getting started. And Rick and Daryl kind of look at each other with kind of a look of both fear and also kind of just anticipation of just what they are about to face in this all-out war. On the next episode of The Walking Dead Rewrites.
They are coming for us. And yet I smile.
We probably have the numbers. We have strategy.
They fire a gun. We're not getting in.
Those guns get to the sanctuary, they could cut through those walkers and free up an exit. I don't die.
So that was The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 9, No Turning Back. I hope you guys enjoyed this mid-season premiere. We had a lot that went down. We had Tara that got captured. What is going to happen with her? Obviously, it's kind of up in the air right now. What is Negan going to do with Tara now that he has her captive? How are they going to escape the sanctuary? How is that all going to go down? As well as Rick and the others are now on their way to take out all of the outposts and all of the saviors in those outposts. So obviously, how is that going to go? Will Alexandria, Hilltop, and Kingdom be, affected in any kind of way in this war? Most likely it's a war. Something's going to go down. We're going to see some casualties. However, like Rick said, it is just getting started. So even though Negan and the others are surrounded right now, that can change in the matter of just really half an episode or less. Who really knows, guys? So that is it, guys. That is pretty much it. The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 9. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And of course, till next week, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week for Season 7, Episode 10. Thanks for watching.
Anybody out there?